Today, let's talk about Canon's RF 35mm 1.8 macro lens. Seriously, look at this thing. This thing's adorable. It's adorable. So I've been playing with the RF 35mm for about 2 months now. Overall, it's a really good lens for the price. I think it takes fantastic pictures. Initially, I had my reservations about getting this lens because I would compare this to the nifty 50 EF lens in terms of the price range. It's about the same size and weight, and it has a similar build quality. But when a sale came up, I couldn't pass it up. Canon is going to be really pushing their RF lenses, so I definitely wanted to start building my kit. This is the cheapest RF lens you can get for the EOS R right now, but it actually feels nice overall. The materials that they use feel nice. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It's actually one of the only lenses that fits really nicely on the EOS R without making it super bulky, and it feels nice and balanced. And because it's a 35mm, it gives you a nice field of view. It has autofocus, manual focus. It has image stabilizer built right into the lens. It has a control ring that you can digitally set to whatever you want. And it also has a focus ring. Other than that, it's actually quite small. One of the first things I noticed when I took the camera out of the box is how tiny this lens cap was. It is adorable. Look at this thing. That is adorable. That's adorable. It's one of the drawbacks to it. It's actually quite noisy in photo mode, but it's responsive. It's noisy in photo mode when you're trying to do macro photography, but Canon has done something fairly nice because when you switch it over to video mode, the focusing slows down dramatically. So it takes a while for it to get into focus, but the lens becomes silent. So well done, Canon, for thinking of us video shooters, but it's really slow, but it is silent. So that is a big bonus. There are some weird things that happen when you have image stabilization on with this camera, plus the digital image stabilization in camera. If you're tracking a face, you'll have this very noticeable jump, especially in the background. It'll try to keep the face steady, but the background will move. So there are some weird shots that will happen if you try to over push the image stabilization, especially digitally. In combination, it definitely gets rid of the minor hand tremors. So if you're holding it for a long time, your hand starts to do one of these weird hand tremor. You try to stabilize it with 2 hands, but then the one hand, and you'll get that little mwah. There is a little bit of softening that happens when it's fully wide open in the edges. That is to be expected. As soon as you stop up a little bit, those fringing and those weird things kind of go away. If you're doing it wide open, make sure the thing that you want to focus is right down the center. And I think that's where this lens is going to shine for macro photography, but also portraits on the go. It definitely feels like a touristy lens because of how compact it becomes. I like it. I like that fact. I've actually kept this lens on purpose for the last couple of weeks because I forced myself to just use it over and over again. I wanted to test out the macro capabilities. I wanted to test it out, doing some portrait shots. And my go-to lens is the 16 to 35 that I always have on here. So one of the other drawbacks that you notice immediately, especially if you're coming from EF glass that's on the EOS R, is you lose your EF adapter with your ND filter built in. I love having the ND filter on the camera because it makes any lens have an ND filter. So it's a fantastic little addition. So as soon as you use an RF lens, this goes away. And I miss it. I miss having this, especially since I don't have a 52mm ND filter that can go on this lens just yet. I love how compact this lens makes the entire camera. It's wide enough, it has a wide enough field of view to work really well in almost any situation. It's still a good enough portrait lens. My favorite is the 50, but it's still a good enough portrait lens. But you're also able to get close enough to get those really nice macro shots and have a lot of detail from it. And having built-in IS into it makes those macro shots look really well, especially if you're filming something. So final thoughts. Do I like Canon's inexpensive RF 35mm 1.8 macro lens? Yes, I do. For the price and the quality, because it makes a nice addition to this camera, I think it's a great start. It's a fast enough lens and inexpensive enough to make for a great addition to any kit that you're building out. Especially if you only have an EOS R, this is going to be your nifty 50 equivalent, which is in almost every Canon photographer's kit. as one of their first lenses as they start out. This will be a great starter lens, and it's a great entry into macro photography for that nice shallow depth of field, and you can get some dramatic results with those two combinations. Overall, I think it's a great lens, and for the price, it's worth to buy into it. That's it, guys. I hope this helps you make a decision on Canon's RF 35mm 1.8 macro lens. If you have any other questions about it, let me know. It's a pretty straightforward lens and very inexpensive to go along with the EOS R or the EOS RP, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work with Canon's new EOS R5 coming down the line, which I'm actually excited about if all the specs are true. As soon as I get my hands on one, I'll do a thorough 3-month real world review. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Raphael. Give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.